Welcome. You are on the Water Cooler Chat Show. Welcome, Jennifer Williams.
Thank
And
you
this show
so
is,
much.
yeah, this show is all about where conversations flow easily. So I hope you're comfortable. Hope you have your beverage of choice. I'm having a cool blueberry mixed juice because it's so hot.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So it's 9:26 a.m. for me. What time is it for you?
It is, ouch, after 8 here, it could be 8:26. I'm trying to find the time on my phone. Around
Okay,
about
so yeah,
8:26.
I think it's after 8 for you in Jamaica and it's after 9. So I'm already at Sunday morning and you're at Saturday evening. So
All right.
welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So we will record here and then later I will share these recordings with you and I will be using them later as a part of my TV show, which I will be having soon. So I'll be a part of my TV show and also a part of my podcast. So you will get the recordings and you have snippets of it, and you can choose what parts of it you want to share as part of the podcast, as part of the TV show. So thank you so much for showing up today. And I begin by saying to you, you're an author. So do you want to just introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself as an author?
Okay, I'm Jennifer Williams. Actually, my maiden name is Giscombe, and I use that as my pen name because in my country there are many persons with that name. So I am Jennifer Giscombe Williams. In terms of my experience, I've had a wide variety or a varied experience when it comes to work. I started out in the banking industry, banking, and then I moved to gender and development, and I moved to human resources, and now I am an author. I am kind of a city girl, city country girl. I was born in the city, Kingston. I lived in the rural areas, Portland and St. Mary. Then I came back to the city. So I have that experience also. So I've experienced both urban and rural life. I had a very humble beginning with my parents. Well, my both my parents went to England when I was young. My father left here when I was about 3. My mother and father left here when I was about 3 years old. And so I grew up with different family members, so primarily on my father's side, but a little bit on my mother's side as well. So I have been shunted and shifted from one grandparent to great grand to mother. And so that experience I have as well. Some of it good, some of it bad. I like to travel. I've traveled a lot, and I like to, just meet people, gain new experiences from traveling. I like nature, I like the outdoor. I like flowers, I like plants, I like rivers, I like seas, I like picnicking, all of those things. So that's just a little part of me, and I like to take pictures. I like
Mhm.
photography. I'm not I'm an expert, but everywhere I go, everything I do, I record it by way of a picture because there's a saying that says a picture is worth 1,000 words. I like to
Hmm.
write and I like stories, both to hear stories and to tell stories. So that's just a little bit about me and my background.
Yes, you mentioned that you have experienced both city life and country life and you've traveled a lot. So can you tell us a bit more about some places you have been to and the inspiration you drew from them?
I have been to Australia. That's the farthest I've been. And what I noticed about Australia, where I went, the Queen's area, was just nice and clean, and the beach was just wide, and they had a free barbecue grill. I was really
Mhm.
stunned by the free barbecue grill where you could just go and grill your chicken and all of that because it is kind of family oriented place, and so they have these outdoor spaces for families. I love that about Australia. I spent a few days in Sydney, and actually, when I watched the animated movie Nemo, I was actually looking for those waterways that Nemo would have, the father would have traveled to find Nemo. I found that very fascinating. I've been to South Korea as well, and I found that very intriguing. Um, there are not many black people there, and
Yeah.
so
Mm,
it kind of stand out. Those of
mm,
us who were dark skinned like myself, we stood out, and
mm,
like I see the children, they're looking at me and they're peering, and it's like they're wondering why are they not like us or why
mm,
are they
mm.
different. So I liked South Korea as well. And I've been to India, didn't spend many days
Oh,
there, but what I
mhm.
noticed about India, New Delhi to be exact, the traffic on the road is horrendous. You feel like
Yeah.
you're in the next vehicle. I've been to
Yeah.
Egypt similarly.
Mm,
When I went there, when it was Africa Cup, and it was just excitement on the road. They don't drive by rules or anything, and they don't really observe. I found the road code in terms of the stop signs. I've been to quite a few countries in the Caribbean. I've been to a few countries in Central and South America. I've been to Canada, the USA, and some other places. I've been to Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Israel, Kenya, South Africa, to name some of
that's
the
nice.
things.
So yes, I would say you're well traveled
I
lady.
think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
yes, yes. So you have a well, and you have also been through different jobs, so different
Yes,
jobs, different
yes,
experiences, and also been to different places. Has
yes.
any of this impacted your writing? Did you bring any of these stories into your writing?
Well, in my one of the poems I did in the book, Crafting Poetic Stories, under the section for the working heart, I have a poem for persons who basically have retired, and I was encouraging them through the poem to go a touring and a cruising, and I brought into the poem the places that I have been. I haven't told them, but I brought that in. So that has influenced me in terms of one of my pieces in the poetry.
Okay, so do you think people need to retire before they experience this, or it's not easy when they're working?
You can do it when you're working because I did most of my traveling when I was working. I traveled as part of my job. I traveled as part of my work experience, and I traveled as part of my own vacation package. So these three experiences caused me to go quite a bit of places. But it's best to travel when you're working because you
Mm,
can't use retirement funds to travel. And so
yeah.
while you're working, you take a vacation here, a vacation there. And so at the end of the day, maybe it's just the last place you have not seen or the
Mm,
last places you have not been to, then you can do that during retirement.
yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to wait for retirement to say I'm gonna just stay and then you can do it while you're going along. Okay, so
Yeah.
you talked about your poetry book. What are the different sections that you have in this book? What are some of the other sections?
We have 8 sections in this book. The first 3 sections have to do with love. So some of it are stories of persons I know, some of it I have made up, some of it are my own experiences. So I have love that binds, and I have 6 poems in that section talking about love personified. That starts with the love of God as based on 1 Corinthians 13, but I moved on to other things that are personal in terms of relationships. So all of that segment, love that binds. Then another segment of the love part is heartfelt connection. Hearts connecting over a period of time, a number of years, separation, loss, mourning, grieving, all of that. And then love, laughter, and kinship. So this is the love, the laughter, the friendship, the kinship that comes from relationship, whether persons have been joined together again or have hope of being joined together. All of those things come under this section. Then there is nurturing the young. And my first book actually is Love Me, Don't Hurt Me. And it's
Mhm.
an essential teen guide for self-protection and advocacy. So I put some of the poems in that big book, but it's here in the poetic book as Nurturing the Young. So Here are the voices of children yearning, crying, hungering for attention. Then her story, her voice. And this, Nadine, would be part of our story as women. So this section has to deal with women. Every woman counts, and that's one of the poems. The glass
Mm-hmm.
ceiling, you and I thrive for in different spaces. The
Mm-hmm.
unmarried woman, some of us have been there. The married woman, the divorced woman, the widow, the abused woman, out on a date. You know, you're going out on a date and all of that, swinging and just looking forward to a good time. Overcoming infidelity, the church woman, the triple role of women, and the passionate women. So these fall under this section, her story, her voice. Then I have love conversations with God. Some of these conversations are my own conversations that I've had with the Lord on various occasions. Then the working hard. This has to deal with work life. And the first one in this segment is called A Suit in a Suite. So that's an interview. You're going for an interview in a suit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was gender neutral, so nobody knows whether it's a male or a female because we all wear suit. And I have a number of points in that segment as well, like on the productivity mode. I worked as a human resources officer and then manager. And so I drew some of my experience to put here when you're interviewing somebody, when you're doing performance appraisal, that's the productivity mode, and also the workplace reunion, if the workplace is having a reunion. Then beyond the daily grind, this would be the retirement part, and then let's go at touring and cruising. Then I have daily life, and I look at face masks, and when it was a COVID period, this was just part of our daily lives. I look at the tax office in my country. The tax office, the line was long and winding, and people were out there from early morning because you can't go in and all of that. And I look at city life, rural life, and that basically is daily life. So there are 8 segments in this poetic book,
So how many poems in total?
60 poems.
60 poems.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, the majority of the poems have to do with the love section, but there are 16 total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does touch on like a wide range of different topics, and I can see your work being a part of it and work with different aspects. Your work with children, your work with maybe with women, your work in human resources, a different part of it. But I noticed
Yeah,
there are lots of poems about women. So why
yeah.
this area is so important to you?
Where I worked at the Bureau of Women's Affairs, my primary role was, well, my last position was Director of Policy and Research. As a result of that, I had to go to different meetings, do different reports, focus on women's issues, and then we focus on the different platforms for action that engage and incorporate women. One of the mother conferences was held in Beijing, China, 1994. And that conference, out of that came 12 critical areas under the Beijing platform for action. And so from time to time, we focus on that. Violence against women was one. The girl child was another. Women in leadership, which I drew the poem, The Glass Ceiling. Women in power, we call it, and decision making. And so, because of my role at the Bureau of Women's Affairs and my involvement, and because we were responsible for ensuring or addressing the inequalities that exist between men and women, I decided that I was going to put some of these poems and I mixed one with the church woman as well. While that was not a part of the job, but being a church woman, a praying woman, I split that one in as well. The triple role of women, which is something we have to recognize, or productive role or reproductive role first, productive, and people or community life and role. So that basically is why I included this section on women.
Yeah, quite powerful, quite powerful. So I know last time you had shared with us a poem about Every Woman Counts. And I
Right.
really, really love that poem, Every Woman Counts, because I think, yeah, some cultures, women are still fighting to drive, to vote, to choose whether they want to be married or not. So these are still, and some, some women are treated as if they don't matter. So I really like
Right.
that poem, every woman counts. So can you just share maybe, part of that poem for us, Every Woman Counts?
Okay, here it is. Every woman counts, irrespective of her age, creed, or religion. She is important no matter her nationality or level of education. Her voice should count at home as a wife, a mother, or caregiver, and in the boardroom where she is a powerhouse and achiever. She's a leader and decision maker in both small and great. Let her voice count in all the untold and hidden stories about her faith. Want me to continue?
I think towards the end you had some golden nuggets that I liked. So then towards the end, maybe the last part of it.
Okay, the last part. To those who are smitten, discarded, and need to be encouraged, she is a trailblazer for the voiceless, downtrodden, and oppressed. She has a unique voice that shows for, that for others she cares. She wants to be counted, not undervalued as she fares. So let's celebrate every woman and show them they are surmounted. Show them how precious they are. Let them all be counted.
Yes, that's the part I really like. And I hope maybe like on an International Women's Day, this is a poem that, could be shared and, other women could have hear this, not just only on Women's Day, but that's a day when it's highlighted. So
Right.
I hope that, yeah. And I'm part of a group of women and they have this thing, not only on Women's Day. So they have speakers who are right throughout the year, just speaking and sharing for as part of Women's Day, an initiative started. So I think that's probably, something that I would encourage for you to share more about this for women empowerment, because I know women are still fighting. Women are still trying to get their voice heard. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
how many books do you currently have then?
Well, I have two out. One, the first one, as I said, the Lord woke me up in 2022 and said, I'm to write a book. And this one is titled Love Me, Don't Hurt Me. And it is an essential teen guide for self-protection and advocacy against abuse. It's written for teens, 13 to 17, but not just for teens, for caregivers, whether you're a guidance counselor, a coach, a parent, a caregiver in any way, I call them duty bearers. And so this actually focus on abuse in different ways, but it starts on the premise, sorry, that no child is a mistake and that God loves his children. So that's the first book. The second one is the one from which I just read, Crafting Poetic Stories. And I told you about that just now. And I have a book which will be released next week. That book contains 9 short stories for children up to age 12. And these stories are centered around the fruit of the Spirit. So I talk about love and peace and meekness and goodness and all of those. And I link them also with the natural fruits by saying natural fruits are good for children. And just as how they are good for children, the fruit of the Spirit, they need to grow. The name of that book is called Growing in God. And then I focus on the 9 fruits of the Spirit. And I learned something myself too, because
Mhm.
I see it now as one fruit and each slice is flowing over. The juice of one is running over into the other, because even though love is mentioned by itself, but you can't do goodness unless you love. You
Mhm.
understand? You can't do kindness unless you love. You can't have faith or being faithful unless you love. And I realize why they call it fruit and not fruit. So I was learning myself. So that
Mhm.
is the third book to be out before the virtual book tour is over. So those are my 3 books.
That's wonderful. So who's your publisher? And yeah, how is it going with the publishing company?
Okay, my publisher is Select Arrow. It's a husband and wife team, Homer and Angela Slack. They reside in England, but they are Jamaicans, and but the company is a British company. But they are more than publishers to me. They edit, they guide, they give advice, and even the graphics and all of that. They help me to order the book, and not just the book, but to structure my thoughts because Angela Slack is an educator, and so she knows the English language and she knows sentence construction and all of these, and so she guides. Omar, the husband, on the other hand, he will do more of the technical, the graphics, the arranging, and all of that. So together they work as a team, and they help me as a new author because as a new author, you're very excited. You want to just push out everything, and you want everything to flow. You want it done immediately, and you want your book to sell like hot cheese or
Mhm.
hot bread or something like that. But they work with me and they help me and they guide and they make suggestions also. I think if you do it this way, or if you put in this, or if you shape it this way, or coach it that way. So I really do get good help from them. My publisher, Select Arrow.
Yes. Yeah, I really think you need some guidance. You can't just do it alone. So your other two books are available on Amazon. Yes.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Any other platforms? Just Amazon?
Well, they have proliferated the book on a number of platforms because when I check, it's on Barnes and Nobles, it's on all the
Mhm.
Amazon platforms, whether it's Canada, UK, and places in like I think it's Australia, AU, yes, and some other places. Not that I am getting traction and sales from them, but they have spread it across the network and the platforms that they have available as well. I buy books here in Jamaica too, and I sell them also for persons in Jamaica who probably don't have a link to Amazon or don't want to use Amazon. So they are sold on Amazon, and also I sell some locally as well.
So okay, so you had copies printed and sent to you, or you were able to,
Yeah,
you can
I
print on
order
demand.
them. Yeah, I order them because I have a courier company. I sign up with a courier company in the US. And so when I order from Amazon, they are delivered to the courier company who clears the book, um, do the customs thing, everything, and I just go there and pick them up and pay them for whatever
Mm,
it is.
okay. That's good. So now you are becoming like a serial author. You
Yes.
move on to your third book. So then do you think that this is now your career path? And in this time of your life, you are now a full-time author.
I am beginning to think so because when I look back on my journey in life, I realize that this is just the end part of what God wants me to do, to transform lives, to change lives, to give what He has placed in me to others. Because when I worked at the Bureau of Women's Affairs, I did quite a number of workshops for like nearly 16 years in schools and churches and communities on some of these subjects, whether it was domestic violence or child abuse. And now is the culmination of some of those things that I did while I
Mhm.
was doing the workshop, but in a more permanent form and a form that can reach so many more persons. So I think I'm setting for that. I would not go back to a 9 to 5 unless a 9 to 5 at home writing my book. So I think this is where the Lord wants to take me at this point in my life. And I'm not too young, Nadine.
They say age is just a concept in the mind, and all of
Yes.
us here are getting older. When I think of age nowadays, I say to myself, I'm grateful because I've had people, pass away who are younger than I am. And you think that life is just like that. If you're still here and you're healthy and you're strong, you have the capacity to still go on. So that's the most important thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're leaving your legacy. So your books then are part of your legacy.
Definitely so.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, so it is. It is always, refreshing to talk to you because as I listen to you, I can hear the power, the resilience. Also, that you have this humorous side, you can laugh, and it's just heartwarming to just speak to you and to hear your stories and to just feel, you are sharing with others. So, what other kinds of books do you want to write?
Well, for the Love Me, Don't Hurt Me, the one 13 to 17, these there are two parts to it, two other parts not yet released. So that's two. For the children's book, there are two other parts to it. The first part is actually the fruit of the spirit. The other two parts not yet released or to be released. The second one has to do with attitudes. And I took that from the script, Matthew 5 and 6, the Beatitudes. It says
Yeah.
having good attitudes. The third part of that is choices. Now these are for children up to 12 years old, and they make choices in life. Whether it's a
Mm,
career choice, choice to do good, choice to do bad. So that third part has to deal with choices. And another part, which I did mention, has to do with the care of the environment. So that in that series, I want to encourage children to care the environment. Plant a tree. Don't block the drains and the gullies. Appreciate
mm,
nature because this is what they will inherit in another few years from now. So those books I have also a little bit of writing on overcoming infidelity. Sometimes women are married, and this is one of the things that really cause them to either have a bad relationship or to have a broken relationship or to live in hell in a relationship. And another book I'm thinking of is Unmasking Christian Marriages, because this is something so we tend to hide.
mm,
People go to church and they laugh and they're going along, and people don't know that when the woman or the man is up there singing, I mean, sometimes crying, sometimes it's a pain in the heart because they are suffering, they are masking, they have to mask in more ways than one. Physical mask when the bruises are there, long sleeve when they are beaten up, makeup, and mask in terms
mm,
of pretending that all is well. So these are some of the things that I have. I have all of them in some stage or form on my computer to be released. I'm just trusting the Lord to give me the time to complete them.
mm. Okay, so you mentioned this thing of infidelity. So, what is your suggestion or your idea of how women can deal with that? Is
Well,
there a
first of all,
solution?
you have to accept that it is real. You have to
Mm,
make a decision, a choice. Do I want to live in this situation, or is it
mm,
something that I have to jump out of quickly? Again, it is your choice. You have to decide whether or not you can bear it, you can live with it, or you have to uphold. Because there are scriptural grounds for hopping out of a relationship if there's infidelity involved. So I would say to the woman, think carefully, make wise choices, use a scriptural basis for what you do, and don't ignore your own feelings because some of
mm,
them die with a stroke or heart attack or hypertension, can clear the diabetes and all of that, the high cholesterol. Sometimes it's linked to, or their health condition is linked to what they are facing. So I would
yes.
want to say, just don't pray and leave it at that. Listen to God for an answer because He will direct. Because sometimes the
Mm,
pain is so great that most times it's the women, but sometimes it's the men who feel it as well. So you have to listen to the heart of God, the voice of God in all of these. And just don't stay because you want to look good and you want others to think that you have a good thing going. If you have to leave, you just have to leave. And it's
mm.
better you live alive because infidelity is sometimes tied up with abuse.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So there's a link between both of them, and you have to know when to jump, when to leave, when to quit. and what
But
to do.
so much of it too is because sometimes women have children and maybe they
Yes,
don't think they can, take care of these kids on their own and they don't know where to go and maybe families can't stand with them. And so for them, it's like, I can't leave my children and I can't take care of them. So it's like you're stuck in this thing. So as you said, they do need to have that guidance that where they're gonna go, what they're gonna do.
right. And a community of persons that they can trust.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have a community of persons that they can trust. They need to have choices as well, and they need to be educated and informed. Sometimes I find that women are not so well informed, or men, the service is just around the corner, whether it's a counseling or for some of us who believe in deliverance, not just for us, but for the family. Sometimes we don't know that help is around the corner, and sometimes there's no help. You just have to know what is God saying and what is his alternative to what
Mm-hmm.
we're facing just now.
Yes. Yeah, so you had that one in your poems. You said you had love stories, conversations. So would you like to share one of your love poems from that
Okay.
section?
I like this one, the first one. And it's about two people who met by a coin or through a coin. It's
Mm-hmm.
entitled The Coin That Rolled Away. A coin rolled away many years ago. It rolled and rolled until it got into the rain. A kind gentleman found it and brought it back again. Naughty coin, he must have thought. And to the owner, the coin brought. The owner was well pleased and gave him a winsome smile. The retriever was captivated by the charming smile. A love relationship began between the two. What seemed like a coincidence turned out to be a coin incident. Little did they know the value of the coin that rolled away. Although many decades have passed, the memory of the coin lives on as it brought two precious hearts together that turned into an unending love story between the owner and the retriever. If the coin only knew what mysteries and pain it brought, it would have thought twice and not rolled from the very start. The coin brought love and friendship. It also brought hope, joy, and victory. It brought pleasant memories to the lives touched along the way. The coin is no longer dead, not knowing that was not its end, because it is still remembered to this day as a coin that filled two hearts with love in every way. The legacy will forever increase while its soul rests in peace, having fulfilled the purpose for which it was released. It may be dead, but it is still alive in the lovers' hearts and thoughts and in the story of their lives. This was a purpose-driven coin. It's a pity it's not around to see the end of their story and the paths and trails of love it has left behind. Rest in peace, O coin of destiny. Your work is complete. You have not lived or died in vain. You have died with a victorious smile, knowing your mission was accomplished and the love you started will always be cherished.
Hmm. Very beautiful. So, do you then believe in this love? Because a lot of people nowadays say, so much is wrong with marriages and this love does not exist anymore.
Love does exist. Sometimes it does not exist in purity, but it does exist. And God is the author of love. He's the author of friendship and marriage, true, clean friendship and relationship. But because of what is happening in the world, the concept of love is spoiled. And so people are afraid to fall in love. People are afraid to continue in love because they feel it may not work. But I do believe in the concept of love. And I believe also that if God puts two people together and they are faithful first to Him and then to each other and the Word of God, it will last. Problems there are and problems there will be. But as people rely on the Word of God, to guide your lives in a love and friendly relationship, I believe that it can work. Just have to overcome sometimes the many trials and the many temptations and testing, and of course, no infidelity, because that can really spoil the love, true love.
Mm. So what's your advice then to young people? Because nowadays, especially women are, saying they are no good men. They are, can't find anyone in their location. They're thinking about online dating. Online dating is also another place where they're meeting, people who are not telling about themselves in a true way. So what's your advice then to people nowadays who are trying to find this kind of love?
Well, my advice to them is first be grounded in God, because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to find it in a love relationship. You have to be whole. When I say whole, spiritually, emotionally, you have to be whole. You have to know who God has made you to be. That's the first thing. Second thing, you have to seek God in relationships, because there are many scammers out there. And you mentioned some of them online, and then turns up that they are all crooks and scammers, not all, but some of them. I've read stories where persons have found each other online and it works out. I've read
Mm,
stories where persons have found each other online and it starts out good. And they realize that the man had a family down somewhere and the woman had a secret somewhere and some skeleton in his
mhm,
closet and all of that. So in a relationship, persons have to find the face of God. They have to seek God. They have to pray. And Sister Nadine, they have to look for red flags. So
yeah.
sometimes we believe that when we marry this man or this woman, this will go away,
Mm,
that will go away, he will change, she will change. No, 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 that's how we say in Jamaica.
mm,
Nothing
mm,
goes like that. So when you see the red flags, run and
mm,
don't think you can change a person. Person
mhm,
change first from within. So if the heart or the root of the tree is corrupt, then you're gonna find that that will not last. So I said, seek the face of God, pray, look for red flags, find yourself in a company of persons where you're not going to be courting this one and that one and dating this one and that one. But sometimes persons have not even seen the world. When I say see the world, I'm not talking about going up and down and having illicit relationship. But sometimes you need to experience what is out there, not people. You need to see the world. You need to focus. You need to have your eyes fixed on the Lord. Know about relationships. Know about friendships, and don't take it for granted because the woman is in the church or the man is in the church. I can fix her or I can fix him. And first of all, you have to know who you are. I said that first, you have to be confident so that when the issues arise in a relationship, you don't feel that, oh my God, I can't do without her. Oh my God, I can't do without him. You know that you can stand because you are standing in God. Ask questions. First time, it is the parents who used to go out and find a spouse, right, for the child. Now we as adults, we go out and we find, but we don't ask questions. You understand? For
mm.
example, I it's a long after I married my husband, I asked his mother some questions about him. You understand? And that
Yeah.
ought not to be. Find the root, ask the right questions. Sometimes they lie and they cover up, but find neighbors and friends and persons who know that person so that you can see this is a good person, he or she hiding something? Is there something I don't know about? Things like this will surface and will come out if we. And then there's the social media. Sometimes you can, not everybody will tell you everything on social media now, but you can look, you can Facebook the person, if
Mm,
the person is on Facebook and all of these. And if the person has friends, well, the friends will cover up, of course, but you need to do your research, 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 research. Without
mm,
it appears as if you're too prying, or you're too suspicious. But you have to do your research as well. This is somebody who you're gonna spend quite a bit of your years with, whether in a marital situation or otherwise. And so do your research, ask questions, probe, look for red flags, look at how he treats, give respect to his dog, his mother, how does he appear,
got cut off.
when in
We got cut off for a while. Did you get cut off?
Just there was just a little blink.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
don't
was
think.
when you were as you were talking, I was saying to myself, yes, all the things you're saying I agree with is that you have to be wise then. So don't be naive. Don't bury your head
Right,
in the sand. Don't take things because as you said, I also grew up in church and I was naive thinking that okay, everybody's singing the same way I'm thinking. But then when you go to the world, you realize that there's so much that you really need to know for yourself and you really need to understand. And that one thing I would say is if you don't feel right about something, speak up about it. Don't just, accept it. Because as you said, there are always red flags.
right.
Always red flags, and it's like um there are times when you feel this thing and you can tell that it's not right, but then sometimes because of society or friends or people you decide okay to do it, but you could just feel it's like the spirit of God is showing you something but you don't want to accept that it is so because yes, so there's always some message coming to you, so just be wise. Yeah, so as we talked about all of that, I want to touch on the area of joy because this show is also celebrating joy. So, what has been the joyful moments in your life, the joyful moments about your writing?
Okay, the joyful moments in my life are the times when I do the things that make me feel good about myself, the things that make me feel happy. And I mentioned some earlier, traveling. I feel very joyful about that. I feel very joyful about taking pictures and having my pictures taken. I feel very joyful when I'm out in the nature scene, going to the rural parts of Jamaica, just driving and feeling the wind and seeing the trees and everything. And I feel joyful when I help people, when I know that I can be a blessing to somebody. I feel happy about that. But my overall joy comes from knowing and serving God and knowing that God is my Father, is my helper, is my caretaker, is my everything. I feel so joyful. Every morning when I get up and I realize my eyes can be open, I am joyful. And I'm joyful when I can make myself comfortable. I don't need to have a palace to be happy. If it's a one room, two rooms, and I can put up something there and I can lay and I can enjoy. I don't have to have a lot of food. If I can improvise in some way, I feel happy because I know that the creativity in me is coming out. So I feel joyful when I enjoy my creativity as well. When it comes to my writing, I feel joyful knowing that I'm helping lives and um, the book about Love Me Don't Hurt Me, I now call it Help for Parents. So it's not just a book I say, it's Help for Parents. And
Mm.
so I am promoting and selling this book as Help for Parents. And the title Love Me Don't Hurt Me, I'm saying to persons that this is a heart cry of God for his children, and this is the heart cry of children. Love me. So I feel joyful when I'm delivering those messages, whether through my poems or through the books that I write, and that I am actually giving a godly focus and I'm having a counter culture to what exists. Because
Yeah.
when it comes to children, there's a culture there now that is eating away and tearing away at our children. And I need to provide a counter culture for them. I need to fill a niche that is not there. I need to provide a gap that is missing. When I do that, I feel joyful with my writing that people can learn, even from the poems they can learn. Relationships can be broken, and they are broken, and there is pain when it comes to
Mhm.
relationship. And God has the master plan. Only He. So whether the Lord is going to bring you back or not, He has the master plan and we have to submit to His plan. So I feel joyful when people are blessed by me in more ways than one. Whether I talk or I pray or I encourage or I exhort, I feel happy and I feel joyful that I can be a blessing and that God has put me in His kingdom at such a time as it to be a blessing to others.
Yes, I can see the joy on your face. I can see your smile. I can see, yes, as it's exuding from you. And I was thinking, I used to have a lady at church. Her name was Sister Ina. And Sister Ina would always say, God never leaves his word without a witness. And so you're part of still witnessing and you're still encouraging and you're still using your talents for that. And that is bringing you joy. Okay, as we are coming to a close with our talk, we have a section called the diamond drop. What would you like as this thing as a diamond in you would like to give to our listeners? What's your diamond that you want to just give out?
Okay, my diamond is to become a friend of God. I remember Abraham, he was a friend of God. And I think out of this friendship and this relationship and this intimacy with God will flow a number of things. I remember praying and hearing the Spirit of the Lord saying to me that my breakthrough is in my praise. And I realized that I can be writing, and it has happened to me. I spend nights up setting up and there was no praise in it, in the sense that I didn't just fully commit to the Lord. I'm there trying to achieve some things, and the next day I have to do it over because I realized that it was just me trying to get something done. But the diamond is that our breakthrough, whether it's personal breakthrough, breakthrough in something that we're doing or giving or being engaged in, is in our worship. And so as we worship, as we seek to praise Him, as we seek to just give ourselves to Him, He will direct our steps, right? He will direct our path, whether it's in writing or in sewing or in doing things. And also, the gem is to love. Love God and love people. Love God, love people. That's the diamond gem. Love God, love people. I am the Jamaica coordinator for International Association of Women Ministers. And I have to encourage my women and I have to take encouragement from them too. We're a small group and not because I am the coordinator means that they can't encourage me. I need
Mm.
their encouragement. And so part of the diamond that I want to leave is that we need a body of friends that we can relate to, we can care for, and they can care for us as well. I think that's a couple diamonds, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Thank you. So beautiful. And as I said, your joy, your spirit from within comes out, and I can feel that this is your truth. It's beautiful and it's coming in. Is there another poem that you would like to share with us before you go? And then we will wrap up.
I'd like to share one from Conversations with God, and this is the redemptive work of God. And this is the last poem in the book, and it's entitled The Madman. It says, the madman walked down the street, partially naked and bare feet, trying to eke out a living, hoping that there are people who would be giving. He walks alone, a deserted soul with body and breath, oh so foul. No friend or family to be found, with eyes glaring, with sadness all around. How can he communicate his passion and needs without people ignoring his mad pleas? A cry for help is in his roaming eyes, but who can look beyond these filthy rags and guise? His laughter is a frightening sound, seeking love where none abounds. He is somebody's child, one so meek and mild. Life's circumstances, let me read that again. Life circumstances have thrown him a curveball. Now his back is against the wall. Who will rescue the fallen soul? Who will drag him from death's door? With shaking hands, he holds fast to his only possessions, his tattered clothes and his other obsessions. At night, he retreats to his loneliness. The streets have become empty, his main sadness. For companionship, he relied on the daily throng, as well as for joy and friendship, among other things among. One day, some people passed by. They prayed and prayed for him in a lay-by. The other week, they prayed again as they passed by. This time, he gave a smile and looked up to the sky. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of great relief. His mood and attitude began to change. Some looked on in disbelief. As the prayers continued to go up to the Lord, the madman was getting better, as observed. Then one day he went missing. The next day he appeared in clean clothing, with breath no longer foul, clothes no longer torn. By the Almighty God, he was made whole. The entire community now knows that the madman's soul, the Lord restored. And many of us have been, we might not have been mad, but we have been in situations where we have been destitute, and
Mhm.
others pray. And you and I, Nadine, or Christians, have to put ourselves in that position where we can help others.
Yeah.
Pray, get them out of that stench and that situation, and to a point where the Lord can restore their soul. The end of the book on that one is about restoration of our souls, no matter what condition or state of being we are in.
Mhm. And as you talk about the madman, mental health is something that we don't really talk about. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are struggling with that. And even the whole thing of schizophrenia and all of that. It's something that, families struggle with. And to know that the power of God can help people like this and can restore
Yeah.
them, and that there's still a place for them, is really a blessing. So thank you for that one. So I've had a wonderful time and I've learned a lot talking to Jennifer Giscombe Williams, a strong Jamaican woman, a woman of God, a woman who has written books geared towards children, written a book of poems. And can you now just tell us again where we can find your book and how we can support your ministry and your work?
Okay, I am on Instagram as Jennifer Giscombe Williams. I'm also on Facebook as Jenny G. Will Go, or you can put in Jennifer Giscombe Williams. I have a website as well, and my website is www.selectarrow, that is selectarrow.net/Jennifer dash Williams. So I'll read it again. It says www.selectarrow.net/Jennifer Williams. So that's my website. So I am on Facebook, I have a website, and I am on Instagram. And the persons who want to do so by email can communicate with me at Jenny G will go to JENNYGILLGO, the numeral 2 at gmail.com. So I'm a little bit all over, and
Mhm.
they can probably write to you too if they so desire, and you
Yeah.
can direct calls to me.
Okay. Yes, and as I was talking to you, yes, I had an idea which I will share with you afterwards. Yes, but it's beautiful to talk to you, to hear from you. And I am in China at the moment, but I'm going to be home in probably in a very short time. I'll be home by the 8th of the 9th of July. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would love when I'm at home if we could see each other in person and talk together, but we'll see how it works out when I am there. So
I
yeah.
would love to. Are you in the city? Will you be in the city?
I am from Clarendon. I'm close. I live in Spaldings, that area. So yeah. But
Okay.
when I'm there we can see how it is. Yes. But it's great to talk to you. Great to, and I wish you all the best, all the success for your books. And it's not just your books, it's really a ministry that you are doing. So thank you again, Jennifer, and all the best. And we will be in touch and we will talk in more. So any collaborations,
Okay.
anything, yeah, we can do
So, Nadine, I
it.
just want to thank you too for engaging me in this wonderful discussion so that we can, as we together seek to help people, even through the virtual book tour. I really appreciate you and the time you spend to have this interview with me. And I just want to pray a blessing upon you as well as you
Thank
continue
you.
to do good and to transform lives. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so I will stop the recording.